For the meeting, Commissioner Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Cousin,
Here.
Commissioner Wolf, Commissioner Boer, Commissioner Zappos, Commissioner Bennett,
Here.
and welcome to our newest commissioner, resident commissioner, Commissioner Decker.
Here. Welcome. We're so happy to have you. Thanks. Yes.
So for the first portion of the meeting, the first thing on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone here who has public comment? Anyone like to speak for public comment? No? Okay. We'll move on to the next order of business, which would be the minutes. However, due to the minutes are typically transcribed from the video. However, there were some technical difficulties and only 3 minutes of the previous meeting was captured. So there will be no approval of the meetings as they could not, minutes of as they could not be reproduced. The next order of business is approval of accounts payable for November 2022 and December 2022, since we did not have the December meeting. Are there any questions? I did send the packages in the mail. Can I get a motion to approve the?
I will make that motion. Second.
Approved by, motion made by Commissioner Smith and seconded by Commissioner Cousins. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Next thing is a resolution. We have a resolution. I didn't send it out to everyone. I apologize for the delay. But it was reconciling, and I wanted to make sure that all our documents were covered. And so the resolution reads, it's resolution number 530, and it reads, whereas the Hudson Housing Authority Board of Commissioners has previously discussed and approved the election policy for the election of resident commissioners and their participation on the board of commissioners. And whereas the Hudson Housing Authority wants to encourage and incentivize resident commissioners' participation by implementing this policy. And the Hudson Housing Authority has held elections pursuant to this policy and intends to formally adopt the policy. Now therefore it be resolved that the Board of Commissioners hereby formally adopt the policy that is attached to this resolution. And you guys have that. Is there a motion to?
I'll do the resolution.
You'll make a
I'll
motion?
make the motion, sorry.
The motion is made by Commissioner Decker. It's seconded by Commissioner Cousins. We'll have a roll call vote. Commissioner Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Smith. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, it's on the cover sheet. Commissioner Smith is aye. Commissioner Cousins.
Aye.
Commissioner Wolf is absent. Commissioner Boer is absent. Commissioner Zappa is absent. Commissioner Bennett. Aye. Commissioner Bennett and Commissioner Decker.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. And that is executed. Thank you. So next on the agenda is the executive director report, which will be brief, but I have some good news. So the elevators on the large elevator have been repaired, so it does not make any noise any longer. In addition to that, the door on the small elevator was repaired. And since those repairs have been made, the elevators have been operating without issue.
Wow, that was a good job.
Yes.
Mary, I want to hear from you, Mary.
Scared to clap. I clap, but tomorrow will be the day.
So we're very happy about that. In December, there was a heating issue for the boiler. And so we had to do some emergency repairs. We had Stan's, their contractor, they came down and worked on the heat, and it went out one time and made some provisions, but we had to execute some overtime and have the maintenance guys watch the boilers to ensure that heat remained. We did get a couple of calls, but we were able to get the heat back on. Commissioner Bennett got some calls and he was informing us of, or informing me of what was going on. And to that point, I just want to remind people, if you have an issue, it is great, and I want to encourage you to talk to the commissioners, but please don't disturb them in the middle of the night. Use the emergency call number, call so it can go directly to our maintenance people because we're the people that can assist you and correct the issue. However, that also was repaired completely. There's another like maintenance repair that needs to be done, but again, since then, we have had no issues on the boiler and we have had consistency. All right. The next thing is I just want to bring to your attention the tenant accounts receivables. Unfortunately, our outstanding accounts receivables are over $60,000. But I've been contacting residents with the highest balances to discuss options with them to resolve the matter, and some have come into the office and we're working on that. And I've also contacted HCHC to see if we can work together and get some assistance and financial counseling and things of that nature. And I'll continue to work with residents to try to resolve the issue. However, if they don't comply, the housing authority will have to take more aggressive strategies to try to get them to, get folks to comply with their outstanding balances. And we just want to note for, let people know, let residents know, particularly because we're moving towards new housing. And you must be lease compliant. That's going to be an issue if you're not lease compliant. And we want to make sure that everybody gets moved over. So we're here to help. And that's why I'm sharing this information. But it is a serious matter. And if there's a problem, if anybody's online and they need assistance, just come to the office so we can help and work with you to reconcile that issue.
So, excuse me,
Yes, sir.
so with the help that people got to pay their back rents this recently, we're still behind?
That help was up until April of 2022. Although the check was not received till I got, right before I got here or around June. So yes, because people were paid in full up until April, but then they continued not to pay some people. Right,
All right,
okay.
And if I could just for some further explanation on the conversations you're having with HCH and take
Thank
my
you, I
board hat
appreciate it.
off.
Thank you.
It would be the help that we'd be facilitating would be dependent on folks participating in financial literacy and counseling. So it wouldn't be the same as like the anonymous donor gave us a lump sum of money last time to cover what was COVID background. This time we're trying to facilitate a way for, folks to understand what it means to stay on top of your bills and like receive help. And it would be through a bank. That's what we're talking to a federal credit union right now who's interested in offering that support. And it's a condition of getting the relief would be to participate with a credit counselor.
And then thank you for that, Commissioner Cousins. And it's extremely important because we plan on, building better and new, and we want folks to be able to continue to maintain their housing and pay a fair rent and better their lives. So this is a very important issue. Share that with your neighbors. And again, they can come to the office. We're willing to work with them, okay?
and maybe I just don't know a lot, but I'm just amazed that,
Can you speak up a little bit, Commissioner?
I'm amazed that it seems like there's still so many people behind, even though they have gotten help.
Yes, I agree.
It's
Does that make sense?
kind of boggles my mind on that.
The next thing is, we did receive complaints of unauthorized pets that were not being taken care of. And we got that information and we acted, and we happened to report in that particular instance that the animals have been surrendered to the Humane Society. And, we will be looking out for other violations, but if you have a pet, first of all, there's a pet policy that's required. You just can't bring a pet in the building. And to be honest with you, I'm not so sure that this is something that's going to go forward when we get to new housing. But so if you have that advantage now, make sure you're taking care of your pet. Make sure you pay your pet fee. Make sure you're in compliance. And if you're not, we will be sending letters to your to your apartment indicating that you are out of compliance. And again, as I stated before, these are things that could affect you going forward, and we don't want that.
I do got a quick question about the pet policy. So, what, like, it's way before your time, but if a person has animals, which they didn't pay the pet deposit, are they gonna get charged now? I mean, like, it's not fair, like, it's fair, if they already had the pets before, like, the pet, the fee came in place. I don't feel that they should be to pay the fee now, if they already had the pets for like 5 years. I mean,
I'm not quite following.
okay, so my friend,
Thinking that there's a pet policy that like just started, but before the pet policy, people had pets and they didn't have to pay a pet fee. And now they want them to pay a pet fee.
oh, no, we don't want them to pay the pet fee. But, so is it safe to say, like, that they're safe of not have to pay the pet policy? So,
If I'm following you correctly, if a person has a pet and they have not filled out the pet policy and paid the pet deposit, they're not in compliance.
so even knowing that it was 5 years ago that they had the pet fee, or the pets? I'm just asking,
Yes, and the pet policy is actually best to be, we're gonna be redoing the pet policy. That's gonna be another policy that's going right to the top. Pet policy is gonna be redone and redone over. For sure, right to the top.
There's a question, all right, thank you.
The next thing I'd like to report is that because we didn't have a December meeting, we were not able to inform you then, but we did have a site tour for the people that were interested in submissions for our RFQ, a submission for development partner, that was held on December 12th of 2022. There was an excellent turnout, nearly 20 different prospective developers attended, came to this room, walked around. Commissioner Smith was with me, thank God, it was cold that day. And but we walked down and looked at the different properties, and they expressed their interest. We also, a lot of questions were asked and also sent in to me via email. And we have now since put an addendum on the website under the doing business portion of the website, which has answers to the questions that we were able to answer and were willing to answer. Some questions were not, they were questions that we would discuss with a development partner once acquired. Some questions were over the boundaries, if you will. So we answered the questions that we felt were appropriate. That addendum is on the website. You can go there, you can see the RFQ and the addendum. All right. And then lastly, also happened in December, we had a visit, a handsome fella too, I might say, from Santa. He delivered toys throughout the building to the children. Santa and his helper. I'm glad he came down and he had his nice suit on, his tummy was sticking out, the belt was tight, I heard. But he did give out toys and it was a good moment, and some residents from Section 8 came down and we were able to help a lot of people. It still actually had toys left over, so that was just a good moment, and we just want to thank those people that participated and help wrap gifts and all of those things to bring in the holiday season.
That was very nice.
Thank you, and that's it for the executive director's report. All right. So without further ado, at this portion, we will go into executive session. We have some personnel matters to discuss. So we ask that those in the room, please excuse yourselves. If you're willing to wait, we will just come back and adjourn the meeting. If not,
Oh, did you want to do the residence report first?
oh, I'm so
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
you might as well wait,
I apologize. Wait 1 second.
you got the resident.
I skipped the resident commissioners report.
Well, you didn't, it wasn't on there. But, oh, I
Yeah, it
see
is.
It's
Yeah,
on
I
it.
skipped it. I apologize. On to new business. The resident commissioners report.
I do want to thank you because you actually brought up a concern that somebody had brought to me that was on a certain floor about the pets. And that you said it was taken care of, so I thank you on that one. The second one, they came to me about one resident came to me about, the carts in the laundromat, which I had spoke to you about. Of people taking them on the floors, leaving them, like there is their own personal shopping cart. And I'm the one that has to go up and get them, or another tenant brings them down. And then my third and final thing is when, tenants have issues with employees. And then they have to have a meeting with the office staff, how long does it normally take for you to have, set up that meeting? I mean, that's the only thing that I have.
Okay. I'll start with that last one. I don't know of any issues, or it hasn't been brought to my attention.
It was.
Okay, so we can speak after the
Yeah.
meeting but to answer your question, if there's something that I know about, I do my very best to try to meet as quickly as possible because I'd like to bring resolution to things I don't want it to linger. Sometimes, if I have to meet with both parties together, sometimes it's difficult to get them together, but other than that, I try to, meet as soon as I can.
Okay, thank
So
you.
again, I don't like to let those things linger. I want to meet residents as soon as possible.
Okay.
So we can resolve. things. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So at this point, we'll go into executive session. Sir?
You
He's
want
like-
anything?
Commissioner
Nope.
Bennett, do you have anything?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.